Yeah, Campus USA. Yeah.
This is Car Bros Podcast, episode 83.
The Big 8-3.
Big 8-3. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. We have a Patreon. That is all I'm going to say.
It exists.
If you care, you'll find it.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. I don't really have any upfront stuff, I don't think. Anybody buy any new cars?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Never know.
Okay, so here's something I wanted to talk about. I was driving down here. This has never happened to me before. This is like long highway drive, and a truck pulled on to the highway.
A big rig.
Like a big rig, yeah. It looked like he had just come from the, like, not the dump, but like...
Somewhere dumped.
No, like, what is it called when like a car wrecker?
Yeah, dismantling.
Dismantler or something. So it's this like semi-truck with just stacked flattened cars on it. And so it's like, it's probably like 12 cars. It's like 3 rows.
4 high.
Four or 5 high of just squished cars with some like, they've got some like kind of loose like netting.
Yeah. Like a
around
bungee
it.
cord.
Yeah. It's just like net sort of.
Yeah.
And so he pulls onto the highway in front of me, and immediately it's like tink, 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 like stuff. Just like
Really?
just debris.
Yeah.
Just things like tink, 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 tink. And I'm just like, what? I don't know what this is, but it's not good.
Yeah.
Whatever's hitting my car is just crushed car like guts,
giblets.
Yeah, just glass and bolts. I don't even know. And so I was like, this has to be some of the worst like truck debris imaginable.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like
Metal shavings and glass.
Just car puke. Basically. And so I went around him. I was like, that's fucked up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some bothers
Some
me.
shrapnel he's leaving behind.
Yeah. Another one that I will say is bad, and this is probably very specific to Central California Valley, is trucks will haul tomatoes.
Yes.
And you can get like a fresh tomato haul where they're just sort of like, it's just like tomato vapor.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Red mist.
it's sort of like happening behind you. And it's pretty acidic is the problem. Like it's really not good, I think, to leave on your paint.
Probably not.
I mean, first of all, it's just if it's thick enough,
And
it's
tomatoes
just,
are gross.
Yeah. I was going to say, Garrett has a
just
passionate
gross.
hatred for tomatoes.
But yeah, that one's pretty high up there. Maybe like a truck hauling rocks or something.
Gravel.
Sand. Yeah, sand
sand's
and gravel.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Or logs, like in Final Destination.
yeah, logs is always scary, but it doesn't like dump
Because they always
stuff.
stick way past the end of
Yeah,
the
they're
flatbed,
kinda like-
and they just
they
got
got
that
like
little like red
little
rag.
flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like,
The little like rock, the rock ones are pretty bad. Grab where you just like pull, but like at all times, just like tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just gonna pass this.
tink,
Yeah,
tink,
yeah.
tink,
Yeah.
tink, tink. Every hit is fucking up the paint.
Yes.
It's just tink, tink. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, spat, like a big one.
Stuff
or
like
something.
that's why I've just like given up on like trying to have like ever caring about my paint or like
Yeah.
rock chips.
Every time the M5 has transitioned from like garage sort of princess to just full garage queen. Like if it's I will not drive that car if it's too sunny. Basically, like it's all the way there, and so it that kind of thing ruins it. Like raw, it's just like the amount of anxiety you feel once you start to care about your car, because they're not designed to not get fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like cars get worn out. That's like what happens. And so trying to not wear it out is like, it's not possible.
Yeah, it's a big job.
You have to drive at like 1 a.m. and like you have to park so far away and grocery stores and stuff.
Another downside of big rigs that I've noticed recently is whenever I tow the STI to a track day, there's that little bit of I-5 that we have to take, you know, where you, what do we take? I forgot the fucking freeway. But we get on I-5 to like, that dumps you off right by Button Willow.
Do you mean like the ruts in the right lane?
Yes. Yeah. And so like, obviously like all the big rigs or most big rigs drive in the slow lane, which it's only a 2-lane, highway at this point, I-5. And so the right lane has like a million fucking grooves and ruts just from the massive weight
like
of these things like
around.
over the years on the shitty ass California asphalt. And so obviously I'm towing, so I'm usually in the right lane. And it's literally just like you're fighting a fucking whale trying
You're
to
just
keep this thing.
constantly fighting it.
Yeah, it's the most annoying thing.
Especially with a trailer. You mean it's like kind of pulling you
Yeah,
in
I mean,
the
like you're
back
not doing anything. It's just like the steering wheel is forcing you to
and
go left or
something
right.
behind you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And so
that's super
And so
annoying.
like half the time I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get in the fast lane and
Yeah.
just like go 80 miles an hour towing a vehicle.
What is the deal with did something change, or is it a California thing where
Gotta be a California
they'll pave
thing.
a road and it's like still not that good?
No, yeah,
It's like freshly paved
try
and
their-
it's
try their
like
best.
it's like a bit better.
Right.
It's like
yeah,
this
they don't
is-
try to smooth it out. They just like put the same. They just put a
is
new
it-
surface over the existing rough surface, and they're like,
Yeah,
there you
is
go.
it-
It's still rough.
Is it like it's like putting on new clothes over your dirty clothes instead of changing? But I don't know. It's not. I feel like I've been to other states maybe, and it's just like this is like glass.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is crazy.
No,
it's so smooth.
It's got to be a California.
silent. Yeah, California one. You're like, didn't they pave it? It's like already dirty, like shitty. Like a day later. Like I don't know if they just try to.
And then 2
do it
months
really
later, there's just a
fast.
giant like 2-foot pothole that just
Yeah, it's
because
just like
it rained.
It's
one
like
day.
never nice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when I actually touch fresh pavement, it's like surreal. It's like it's so rare. They just can't figure out how to keep it nice, I guess. Okay, so speaking of driving the M5 and my pathetic, my ever increasingly pathetic ways of owning it, I will now, after I drive it every week or every 2 weeks, at a minimum, I'll just do this like couple mile loop where I'm just like kind of back roads, just sort of like flooring it and stuff. It's probably for the amount of miles I drive it, it's just like the most dangerous. It's like,
Putting it on the edge.
yeah, it's funny because like according to insurance, it's very cheap because I drive it so little.
But those,
Yeah, it's a high risk.
get your
It's
money's
like,
worth.
it's like leaving burnout marks out of the garage. And so every time I come home, it's like it's been run because I'm also trying to get it hot enough to burn off water vapor, and I'm trying to make it count.
Yeah.
And so I come home and it's like hot. So every time I drive it, I lift the hood after
Yeah.
driving it.
Let
'cause
it
I don't-
cool off.
Yeah, because I don't want
Let
to like
the engine
let
breathe
air
a
out
little.
I don't want to like trap the hot air
Yeah.
and like hurt the plastics.
You don't want to suffocate the thing. I mean, come on.
No, it's a heat thing. But I realized I do this thing, and maybe other people do it too, where it hasn't really failed me. It's a pretty solid, for the amount of effort, way of doing things, where when your car is hot, like you just got off the highway or something, and you're at a gas station checking the oil, or you're at home lifting the hood so that the plastic hoses don't get too hot, you let the kind of like, it's like lifting the you're like cooking some spaghetti sauce and you lift the lid and that like first kind of blast
the-
of steam hits
like when you open the oven. Yeah.
you like open the oven. It's
you
like,
just get
oh, the smell of
blast-
fresh whatever.
yeah.
I do that with cars because anything that's fucked up is going to be in that that initial kind of
Vapor.
whiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that vapor. And you mentioned on the last podcast that you changed the radiator in the Jeep.
Yeah, just because I could smell coolant. Oh, actually, no, it did start dripping a little. Like there was like one day I noticed there was a tiny like droplet of red.
Oh, okay. So it had
So I was like,
started.
oh, it had actually started to drip.
See, when I
But remember for months-
that,
yeah,
when
when
you
I-
bought it, it was like you lift the hood and it's like there's coolant in that
Yeah.
initial whiff,
Right.
And it can be nothing. I mean, it wasn't even enough to drip.
yeah, it wasn't even
apparently.
liquid. It was just the vapor.
It was just
Yeah.
like something is
Yeah.
in there, and so I do it now almost every car that I lift the hood on, but especially the M5, it's like hit it with that whiff,
Yeah.
and it's just like, yep,
What
there's
problems we got? Yeah.
there's no oil in there, there's no coolant. It's a pretty good check because a lot of shit will show up in that whiff.
Right.
If there's oil burning, it's obvious.
Mechanic's intuition.
It's like the ultimate mechanic whiff, where it's like as soon as the car gets done driving, lift the hood.
It's like a chef tasting their
yeah,
sauce.
You're smelling the sauce. It's like, ooh boy, I would not taste this sauce. I'm like vicious when I look at used cars now. After being burned a couple times, it's like nothing's getting past me anymore. I'm fucking smelling the engine.
Yeah.
They're always like, what the fuck? but I'm just done trusting the owners,
Right.
and their like description of stuff. Okay,
Being
boy.
scammed on the internet? Just
Yeah,
unheard of.
I know. Why would they go and lie? The other thing, this is another sort of, I don't know if this is diagnostic, but maintenance related. If you work on cars enough, an unfortunate reality is that through the course of your mechanicking career, you're just gonna fucking eat some car product. Consume.
Oh, it's going to like fall in your mouth.
Whether you mean to or not,
Yeah.
you're gonna taste some chemicals that are very not good
Stuff.
They're not okay to taste, but you're either gonna get a mouthful of them, or you're gonna accidentally get them.
Or it's like, don't have skin contact with this, and you get fucking
Yeah,
skin
oh, yeah,
contact.
you're definitely
yeah, your
gonna-
skin's going to come in
You're
contact.
washing your hands with gasoline. But one that kind of made me, I was fixing something on the Lexus. I was under it, and I was replacing an AC line, and it's like up kind of in the frame. And so anytime you're doing like kind of up in there work, the shit that is falling into your
Like
face,
crud and
it's
stuff.
like
Yeah.
prehistoric.
Yeah.
just
Fossils.
just crap. Yeah. Then like you come in, you look like a coal miner.
When we when I put like slightly bigger tires on the GX, we had to like trim the fenders a little bit and take out the like plastic fender liner that was in there. Like when it came off, there's probably like 25 years of like or
just
whatever, like 18 years of leaves
Road grime and
shit.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Just
It's
like
already like decomposed.
yeah, just like anything that had like gone into the fender had
Worked
since
its
it was
way in
new,
there.
apparently just came out.
Yeah, and so basically, if you're under there working on it, this
Yeah,
shit is
It's like sprinkling into your eyes.
finding
Yeah.
its way back down.
Potpourri.
But probably the worst one is I changed the fuel filter on the Fieri. I can't believe that thing's gone.
Yeah.
What a burden off our shoulders. But I was doing the fuel filter, and it's like under the car, and a lot of people will tell you it's like pull some fuse and then
Start the
crank-
car.
You try to crank it, to like use up any fuel
in the
that's
lines.
in the
Yeah, yeah.
pressure side of the fuel delivery.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I did do that. I like started it and it died. But I guess you should just like
There's more.
Keep doing it.
I
Yeah.
guess you should just crank it. I don't know how much. It's the only time I've ever done it. And so I go to pull this thing off, and it just
Yeah.
it's like
Blasts.
perfect
Bukake.
fuel, just cone shape, just
It's like
into
the
my
scene
face.
from Jurassic Park where the spitter
exactly. Yeah, the like acid.
gets Newman right in the
just
face.
like that, just under the car, and it just full on.
And you don't wear goggles or glasses anymore.
No, I usually will wear gloves.
Right.
And oftentimes now I'll probably start
goggles.
like, I wear
After that.
No, it wasn't after that one. But lately I have, especially if I'm under a car, I'll wear safety glasses.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was virgin face. That was raw, unprotected, just old gas.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was
great for the skin.
It was probably lucky that it was like 10-year-old gas. And so I got to think that's better than fresh gas. It probably like stabilizes into paint thinner or something. I don't know. From like I don't know. It was bad. It was just in my eye. It was like scoop eyefuls.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is like
Sucks.
this really sucks. Yeah. But it's kind of funny, like when you're working on stuff just after the fact, oftentimes with me, if it's like a long enough job, you're like washing your hands, you're like I taste oil.
You probably
Or some-
haven't. Have you ever had to use an eye wash station?
No, I have not had to.
Oh, okay.
They don't look fun.
No.
The graphic of like a fountain.
It's not that
into an
bad. It's just,
eyeball.
I mean, it's
You have to, like hold your eye.
yeah. It's just saline
Got some,
water.
did you get some glasses?
I mean, anyone who's had contacts, it's like the same thing. It's like you've if you've ever squirted saline into your eyes for contacts, it's the same thing.
I have not.
No.
I do not wear them.
But-
Somebody, I have a friend who has a pretty nice garage, and he's also very into safety, like I am, and he has an eye wash station right there. I was like, God, that's like the most adult. He has a fire extinguisher and an eye wash station in his garage. It's like, yeah, that's probably how I should. I would have used it that day.
Yeah.
Instead of just cussing at myself. Okay. So that's like unwanted car product intake
Into your mouth.
and then more like artisan car product. Those are both ends of the spectrum. Desired car product intake. Okay, so Garrett comes across many car for sale
Mini character.
That's how he gets the scoops.
ads.
right, yeah.
He's at the front lines.
Fighting the battle.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen any of those like kind of third world impoverished shots where like the trash trucks are like freshly dumping trash, and then there's kind of peasants sorting through the trash. he's out there. He's sifting
Sort of
through it.
Yeah, it's like the modern day gold rush.
Yeah, he's out there
Finding the
sifting.
premium
yeah.
And so here is one from his daily rummaging. This is
It's a pretty unique vehicle.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. This is a 2000 Ford Crown Vic, which is kind of like a unsung hero of that era. Like they were cop cars, right?
Yeah. Stout.
Yeah, stout vehicle. So it's a limo, but it's like
It's not a stretch.
It's not a stretch limo,
Yeah.
just like-
Well, I guess technically it's stretch, but it's not what you.
is stretch limo like a thing?
I'm not sure.
Because this is basically like they added like one unit.
Yeah. Like one door width.
Yeah, like one like
It's like a foot long sub instead of like a 16 inch.
Yeah.
yeah, they just added like one passenger.
It's like
worth.
it's like one step above like like a 7 Series L.
Yeah, where most limos would be like if you're audio only, most limos would be like 2 or 3 units worth of stretch.
Yeah.
This one's just like, oh, that's a limo. Like you have,
It's kind of just executive.
yeah, it's just kind of executive looking. Like if you saw this, you'd probably do a double take. You'd be like, man, those things are long. And then you'd be like, oh no, that one I think is a limo. Okay, so it's like sort of a limo.
But the setup is pretty cool because like the setup like doesn't really look like it's made for like partying.
No, it's just like some guy needs.
Just for really tall guys.
Yeah, it's just like
A lot of leg room.
Yeah,
you
a
need
lot of
some
leg room.
space.
You just need a little more space. Yeah, it's just kind of the L version.
And the ad is pretty cool too.
Yes.
Okay, so the ad is selling my 99 Ford Crown Vic Stretch. I wonder if that's what
Maybe
it's
just a stretch.
Crown Vic Stretch. That's pretty cool.
It's a cool term.
Yeah.
way of putting it. So the first line of this is selling my 99 Ford Crown Vic Stretch that I bought as a joke and now I need the money, LOL.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. He's just laying it out there.
Right.
Out of the gate, not even making up some story about starting a limo company. I get compliments everywhere I go, but now I actually need the money. Damn. Okay.
So mentioning twice that he needs the money.
And ending it with open to offers and willing to negotiate.
He's really putting
the gone.
Yeah, he's really
It was a reasonable asking price.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
only $2,000.
Damn.
2,800. He's asking 20.
Oh, sorry, 2,800.
Yeah.
Sadly, this ad is from like
Yeah.
quite a
It's
while
gone.
ago. It's long
But he's
ago.
putting the ball in the buyer's court.
Yeah, like
He's
this is
all of the negotiation.
This was yours.
I just like that he's just coming out saying like, look, I thought it was funny.
But I need the money.
I got in a little over my head, or the joke is done.
We know that feeling.
Yeah, but like he's passing on. Yeah, I was very honest. It was just like, please save me
He
from
had
this.
his Fieri moment.
Yeah, please save me from what I've done. I also would like to know like what kind of good times he's.
yeah. What he's used.
Yeah, because as he probably look, if you're selling a $2,800 car because you need the money, you probably needed the money when you bought it.
Right. Buying like an old limo probably was not.
Yeah, it was probably not a prudent decision at the time. And so
Yeah, it wasn't a business decision. Like I'm going to start my own limo company.
And so the like pro and con weight must have shifted in there, which means he must have like got some use out of it. He like showed his friends. And, like,
had some encounters.
yeah, he like had at least an interesting encounter with it. So like, I don't know. I'm kind of bummed that we didn't jump on this because I'd like to at least ask him.
Yeah.
Could have sent him an email.
Get
Said,
him
like,
on the cast.
Can you tell me about any of the encounters that you would you be willing to share with me?
Any taxi cab confessions?
Yeah, are there any confessions you'd like to have?
This would be like the ultimate Uber car, though. I mean, not gas mileage wise, but,
Sure,
but
but
like
in
passenger wise, yeah.
Damn.
Rolling up to this to pick up some drunk
Get in the
Uber
back.
passengers.
pool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I put this one on here. You guys don't know this, right?
This is bold. I don't think so.
No.
The worst car company
This is bold.
in modern history. And now I'm just gonna
What do you mean by modern?
I don't know, post-war
Okay.
something.
Like they still exist?
1960.
Like they're still going?
They're, I think what I mean by this is like they're significant and like you've heard of them. So not like Trabant
But they're also the worst.
or something, but like they're the worst. Okay, so
Damn.
you might think that
Is this a
it's
company or a brand?
a company,
Okay.
a brand, sorry.
Okay.
You might think that it's Nissan. And you could argue your position and maybe win it.
Specifically, if you're looking at the period between like
Yeah.
2010 and 2020.
Specifically between 3 decades ago and now. Okay, but I would say that even worse than Nissan, and possibly because it's still Nissan, is Infinity.
Yeah. No. Well,
Have they ever had a desirable car
they have.
outside of the G stuff?
I think the Q45 was at least like a big deal when it was new.
Was it though?
I mean,
That's the big SUV, right?
No, like let's.
It wasn't good, but at least it was like a notable
It was just
vehicle.
they're. So what is that? Like 1990?
89 or something.
Okay, this is a first gen Q45. So late 80s, early 90s, the Japanese were trying to break into the
Right.
American like market.
I'm not saying it's a great car. I'm just saying it's notable. It's no.
But at the time, it was known for being like weird. It was,
That's
it was like,
a little funky.
It was like, and I'm not even sure if, I kind of wonder if like, if it was reviewed today, like if it wasn't just slammed because people had some more dignity about their writing back then, where they were like, it's respectable. The only thing I will say about the Q45 is that apparently they were like fast. Like they made it like very fast
At the time.
Yeah, it was like
The M45 was cool like years later, but like none of that stuff was really like Infinity. It was all just like rebadged like stuff from Japan.
Yes,
Like the brand never really had much of an identity.
Right.
which makes me think like, is there a worse company? It's just kind
Well,
of
it's not.
pathetic.
I mean, it's a brand.
Okay, brand.
Yeah.
Is there a worse brand? Saturn is cooler than this.
Yes.
And that came and went.
Yeah.
Is Infinity worse than Nissan? Just
I
looking
mean,
at their lineup.
Scion was pretty bad as a brand.
Some people really liked them.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was also Scion was also like a very low effort.
Yeah, that was like
short-lived.
that. Like should have been like an appearance package. They decided to make it a brand.
But Infinity, like now, is like terrible. Like
Have they ever been good though? They've never been. Here's the thing: they've never been good.
no,
They've never been like,
they never. Yeah,
this is a good.
I mean, I guess the G35 was like
that's their
at the time.
that's their pinnacle. Was the G35?
and that car like fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and they have a huge following. To be fair,
in far as at least just in terms of like owner image.
the G35 is legitimately the new 240SX.
What was that thing like the FX, like something?
Oh yeah, that was kind of neat. The FX.
Yeah, I mean it was fine.
That's not like crossover.
That's
Yeah, that was like the first kind of like sporty little.
same period.
What's the big SUV? It's like a
QX.
QX. God,
Yeah.
their naming is just terrible.
Well, that's part of the reason why they suck.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when that came out, that was like big.
Yeah, it's fine.
It was just like, oh, this is like
They're just fine.
a Japanese Escalade kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what it was trying to be.
Right.
There's no LX.
No,
Not a chance.
it's not a Lex.
But it
No.
it was perceived as cooler than an LX.
I mean, it was more flash. It was
Yeah, that's what I mean.
flashy.
All right, sorry, flashy. That's a good
Yeah.
word for it. Yeah.
Okay. I think they're the worst. I mean, when you consider everything, it's just like,
I think, yeah, I guess in terms of like what a brand is supposed to
Yeah.
be, I guess they're pretty bad.
and they're still around, which is crazy.
Yeah,
They're like
they're really bad.
they're
now.
so bad right now. Other than the QX,
The
which is
what?
the biggest one, which is just it's based on
Oh,
the
this-
Patrol.
Oh, the Armada. Whatever.
Oh, sorry, no.
I think
yeah.
they're both the same now, but yeah.
Oh yeah. The Armada's the Nissan one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that one's fine
It's very Middle Eastern.
because it's because it's based on the I don't know. I'm putting it out there.
Brand wise,
because
would
anyone else
say-
you go is going to have some like
It's just
star players.
I would say like GMC is pretty bad.
But there are people who
Yeah, well, a GMC for some reason like is not going anywhere. But like, it's hard-
for some reason it won't die.
It's hard to think of a more pointless brand.
but
than
it seems
GMC.
to be making money.
Yeah.
Have you seen? You guys don't really watch TV. Have you seen their like latest commercial when it's like, I gotta fuck. What's the slogan? It's like, can luxury be performed? And it shows like all these like Veyrons and Lamborghinis like trying to like off road and like and stuff like that. And it's like, no, we have it, and it's whatever their new GMC line is. What's that like?
I don't even know.
ATM.
That is
A-
a pretty
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
That is a pretty weird company.
Yeah.
But that company's
like,
also been around for like 100 years or something.
Right.
It exists
brand-
as like
brand-
it's like a
brand,
high
actually.
trim level of Chevy stuff,
but
right?
not as
Or
high
GM,
as Cadillac.
but not as high as Cadillac. It's like a lot of the perks of Cadillac without any of the flashiness, but some of the flashiness, I guess.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's like their AT4 line. Or
it's like stealth well.
Yeah.
GMC just has no identity. Yeah. Okay.
Infinity is probably worse.
Infinity is just like background noise.
They're just so. It's just so weird.
It's like you see them all
GMC
everywhere.
is just kind of pointless, but like Infinity is a little more pathetic.
Infinity is just pathetic because Acura, as we have said, is back,
But the thing is,
and Lexus has always
but
been.
the thing is,
good.
when you're based on Nissan, like, what can you really do?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just calling a spade. Spade. I'm not making any observations beyond the facts.
the hard facts.
I'm just looking through the history books and calling it as I see it.
Yeah, they're probably the worst. At least the worst that still exists.
Yeah, especially that still exists. They somehow still. It's almost like they're looking at the
Like, what are they?
books
Yeah,
for Infinity, and they're like, "What is Infinity?
They have
What
that-
is this budget
they
line
have this,
item?"
They have this one like crossover thing that's like so dumb. Now, like I forget what it's like. The one that's like just looks like a hatchback, basically.
It's smart of them to name them so poorly because we can't talk shit about individual models.
Right, yeah. It's like, which one
It's
is
like
it?
I don't know.
The QX50 crossover sport,
Maybe.
QX55.
They're all Q
Yeah,
now, so
doesn't make any fucking sense.
there's a good
QX30.
chance-
No, it's not the
QX30.
Maybe the QX30.
Oh, the QX30s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If it's
Yeah,
not the QX30, it
it
should
is
be.
it's like a hatchback
like a
with really
Murano.
bad.
Guys, I got an SUV.
Yeah,
Do you like my sport utility vehicle?
Man,
crossover SUV.
this just looks like something that's going to be very cheap in about 5 years. If you're looking at
I don't understand because they had that partnership with like Red Bull F1 team
Yeah.
for like a couple years, and it's like that's not cheap. But like, how did they have that much money? To,
How did
I mean,
they-
that's just Nissan.
how did they squander?
yeah,
Yeah. Anyways,
Let's say they're based on Nissan, and Nissan is like
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
We've said our piece about Nissan. So imagine like
So imagine a brand built.
a premium.
It's like building a skyscraper with sand as the foundation. It's like one of those it's like you didn't clear the old burial ground before you
did the Z come out after our last podcast?
the new Z.
The new Z.
The
It's
full
still not
reveal?
out, right? Is it out?
Well, not like out. But
the full
like,
reveal.
they're like-
Yeah, I think it was after our last.
they're like how much it's going to be and how much.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty sure that was
Going to
after.
talk about that again because it's so significant.
Yeah, nah. I mean,
I think
just
that
mean,
thing's great.
It's cool, but it's nothing.
It's going to be a big deal.
nothing groundbreaking.
Oh, it's groundbreaking.
It's gonna turn them around.
It's so obvious you feel like you already know it. That's why it doesn't feel groundbreaking because it's so clearly the right.
Because they waited so long.
Yeah, we'll see. Of all the new cars coming out, that one I'm most excited to see like reviews
Yeah,
about.
It'll be interesting.
Just because if it's good, it's gonna be
Holy shit,
a big
this,
deal.
This QX30 is so dumb looking.
It's based on the new Z.
Yeah, shares underpinning.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of bad cars, I feel like we've talked about this before, but I think we need to like officially address it because now it's gone.
This actually ties right in.
Yeah, it's like it's dead. So the 240SX,
So I think the 240 is like it's pretty well known.
I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah,
here.
amongst enthusiasts.
Yeah, I mean
Nissan
like
240
everyone knows,
SX.
but like the 240SX specifically, the US 240SX.
Yes,
Like,
as we know it.
Yeah,
here.
like, is there a car? I don't know if there's a car that has a more pathetic arc than that.
Yeah, it started out unloved.
Like, it started out as kind of like an also like. I don't even remember like what people thought of it like in the day. Like it handles good.
Yeah, I think it's just like a sporty. I mean, look at their lineup. Like, remember the like kind of Altima of the time, and like the Sentra.
And they had like a Z32.
It's like, yeah, and here's our. I mean, it's not really any different than like the Infinity Q. You know, it's just like, G20. And we make a coupe.
Yeah, but it's like
sporty.
But like elsewhere, this car was like, even like when it was new, it was like, holy shit, this thing's good.
Yeah, it was like followed.
Yeah, it was like it had a turbo.
Like the new one,
really good suspension, like
the Sylvia.
Yeah, like we got this.
We got this like sad,
very like kind of watered down, and it was never that popular when it was new. Mm-hmm. Like you wouldn't. I don't know.
All through the 90s, it existed.
Like the image was like it was driven by like secretaries.
Yeah, but I think there was probably a very small subset of like enthusiasts
like
here, who knew what it was elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
but at the time, back then at least, there wasn't very many of those people.
Very few.
Yeah,
very nerdy. Mm-hmm. We can call them the original.
Yeah,
the only ones who deserve the car.
And so the car, I think when they stopped selling it here, like 1998 or something. So like,
yeah, it sounds right.
It's like it was on the market for less than 10 years.
Yes. What's the first one? 90? No, 89.
Yeah, and then I think 98 was
sure.
the last
one. 9-year run,
so,
2 generations.
So the car, they stopped selling it. Like, I think it wasn't that cheap, I don't think. It was never
It was pretty cheap, but it wasn't cheap.
Right. So then they just stopped making it. Here, at least, they keep making it in the S15 overseas.
It didn't work, which is not surprising because it competed with nothing.
And it had like a pretty weak engine.
It was basically an answer to like the Celica. It was like a
rear wheel drive.
Here's like they just sort of had cars that were like sporty.
Yeah, and like obviously overseas it was way different.
Yes, way different.
I mean, not fundamentally different, but just had like a way better engine.
Yeah, we just got the like
a very mediocre.
We got the like base engine.
Yeah,
and like
so
none of the other.
Yeah, so they stopped building it, and then maybe like 8-7 years later, like people realized that like these were like a big deal in Japan, and like drifting kind of blows up.
Sure, and like slamming stuff.
You just like it become like they were cheap at the time. They were like they were like dirt cheap for a while.
Yeah, same with the AE86, right? Were those ever? Those were pretty cheap,
but the AE86 was a lot better as a car.
Just as a car people would buy.
No, even when it was new, it was a lot more impressive. It was like twin cam.
Yeah, but people basically thought like, I want to drift, and so they started looking for candidates.
Yeah, it was part of that bubble.
Those were like the 2 targets that
right. And so like before that, they were like worthless. They were like dirt cheap.
But wasn't there a S13 in Initial D? Isn't that kind of like what did it?
No, well,
you don't think that's what
in Initial D? Like all the S13s are kind of like the like generic, like that's like that's just like what everyone has.
Okay,
like the nondescript characters.
Okay,
drive
it's like the NPCs.
pretty okay. So anyways, like before the like drifting boom, like they were dirt. Like you could buy one for like $1,000.
Yeah, they were just sort
of. And then they like got popular. Mm-hmm. But so they went up in value, but they were still around.
Yeah, you can still find a decent one for like $4.
Yeah, or even less. Like I remember buying a few for like $2,500. That were like decent. And then they just got like drifting and all this crap got so popular, and like a relatively small group of these cars existed to start with
because they didn't sell that well,
right? And then they basically just were torn apart. Like they were almost every single one of them was ruined.
Yeah.
Like not an exaggeration. Like a stock 240SX is like a unicorn today.
Yeah, but what's funny about it is it's still not a good car.
No, it's like,
and so like even if you
it's weird because like it should be this like sought after like bring a trailer like, but like who wants a stock 240SX?
It's kind of like a stock Supra, even though a stock Supra is like, it's still a good car. It's not good by today's standards, but like it's good.
Yeah, it's weird because like all of the popularity of the 240SX is attached to like souping it up.
Same with the Supra though.
Although the Supra was pretty good. The Supra was like in another.
It was fine, stock. but like you. It's such a catch-22. Both of them are catch-22.
Yeah.
If you could find a stock one, you wouldn't want to keep it
Stock.
I think a stock Supra is probably cool.
It's way cooler.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a weak car
yeah,
to
just
keep
like
stock.
there was no following built around a stock 240SX.
No, not at all.
No.
At all.
Bro, it's canvas.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, so like it's
blank
just weird.
canvas.
It's just like a very pathetic arc. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't popular when it's new. It had this like boom where the car basically just killed itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like someone just took like a cadaver and jammed it with adrenaline
Yeah.
and it like lasted for like 10 minutes and then it died.
Yeah, imagine how bad. I mean, this is bad enough on the outside, but like I like them, but I was never like trying to buy one or into them. Imagine how bad you would feel being one of the like early kind of enthusiasts. Seeing like, you know how bad people are about like all these new people.
I was into it.
Yeah, like there's no worse. I was into it.
But it's just weird. Like, it's like when you see the rare occasions when you do see like a stock one driving, you're like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, so what? That thing's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've
I think like wasn't even like good in its day.
There's like a guys at work that's when I find out I have a STI, they go, "Oh, that's cool. My buddy has a 240," and I'm like,
these are not comparable.
"So?" I'm like, "What?
Tuner scene.
Who cares?"
There is a video. Here, we'll play it here, which I kind of feel like it just sort of like visualizes this for me. It's monkeys fighting over a box of Twinkies. Ever seen that?
I feel like I've probably seen this.
Yeah,
Those are 240.
Yeah,
limited supply.
Yeah.
The year is 2005.
Anyways, oh boy, they even once they're gone.
Yeah. Do they start fighting each other? Hopefully, they just start fighting each other. But that's the end of it.
And I've just always, I don't know. Every time I think about that, that's what I think about. It's just like,
I need one.
yeah. But then, like, do they still own them? I don't think so. I think the problem with 240s is drifting kind of came and went. Nobody gives a shit about drifting.
No, drifting
anymore.
is still.
I mean, it's
big.
still a legitimate sport.
It's still around, but it has just been replaced by doing donuts. It's just
you're
like,
talking about on the street?
yeah, just the general like young kids.
It's still around. It's
into
just
it.
like when you're basing like if a car that's like pretty rare to start with becomes like the base of your hobby, like that car is just going to disappear.
Yeah, but no one like early whenever I didn't watch Initial D, but whenever it came out, it's like people were into like let's try to go drifting.
Yeah.
And now that version is just like let's just rev it.
Yeah.
It's just turned into
Yeah.
slideshows or what. That's basically
Yeah.
It's still the spirit, but that's the evolution. It's just kind of like stance and slideshows. And the 240 was subjected to both. It caught both waves. It was like people actually trying to build drifting vehicles, and then people just trying to build like stance kind of like fuckboy vehicles. And so there already weren't many of them to go around. And it's like they're gone. They're just done now.
Yeah,
you can't be like, I think I'm gonna get a project car. It's not one on your list.
Well,
anymore.
theoretically, it's still a really good project car because there's a ton of stuff. Like theoretically, you can
if you could find
right,
I mean,
but like
you'd
it's not
have to
like
settle
It's not
for-
like I want to buy a Corvette or I'd like to have a Supra or I'd like to have a whatever. I'd like to have a 240 SX. Like no one says that.
Yeah, I wonder what the like for sale kind of atmosphere.
Well, a guy tried to trade me one for my braid
did he?
seats, remember?
He's got like a rolling
It was
chassis.
it was
or
like
something.
his project car.
Well, from what I can tell, like literally the only 240 SXs that you see like in the wild, like for sale, are either like complete pieces of shit that
Salvage
don't, that, like,
title.
don't run. That like someone's like aborted drift
just
project.
Multiple people have come and
Just
gone.
like a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then there's like really nice like drift builds that are like 20 grand,
very expensive.
Like, but nothing. They share nothing with the stock one,
right.
and that's really about it.
Yeah.
Like there's no like when I was into them, like the couple that I bought, it was like you'd see them all, they'd be like, oh, this one has some like NKs and a catback, and it's
It's one or the other. This middle of the spectrum is gone.
yeah. There's no like
I ran into a guy a couple months ago who had like a stock white S13, and it was like pretty beat but stock.
right.
And it was just some kind of community college. He's like, I don't have enough money to mod it yet, but just started driving.
It's
it.
on my list.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool. They're still out there. Seemed fine. I mean, it was a decent start. But they're not nice car. You know, they weren't like luxurious or anything.
Right.
You got to be
dedicated.
Yeah, you got to be pretty
You
dedicated.
gotta be a real fuckboy.
yeah. He's got future dreams. Okay. So we've been waiting months.
Quite a while.
Basically.
I've almost blown it.
To hear that. Yeah, he's almost blown it multiple times. We told him not to. Apparently there's a new Cobalt Theory
I don't know. Well, that's
crown. TBD.
A new contender, at least.
A solid contender for Cobalt Theory crown. So hold on. It's been a while.
Yeah, we need to recap.
Yeah, don't remember. The Cobalt Theory originally was posited that
basically, the car that is the current Cobalt Theory champion
is the Cobalt.
Chevy Cobalt. Well, this was like a couple years ago now when we
but it was just like the most uninspiring car.
Yeah, it's
imaginable.
Yeah, it's not the worst car or the crappiest car
because that would be inspiring.
Because those are at least like interesting.
If it's offensively bad, then it's inherently interesting,
right? Or if it's or even if it's just rare.
Yeah, it just has to be
like this car sucked, but they've almost disappeared. So like when you see one, it's interesting.
Its only redeeming quality is that it has no redeeming qualities.
Yeah, basically. like it's not a good car. It's not fun to drive. It's not good looking. It's not.
It evokes the least emotion possible
right.
of anything.
And
not even anger.
And so and the whole point behind it is that it's never static. Like as the years go on,
it can shift.
New cars. I mean,
because at a certain point, a Chevy Cobalt is going to be a rare.
Well, and I think the thing is with my latest contender, like the Cobalt has slightly nudged.
It's a shifting of the sands.
Well, like the Cobalt is slightly nudged towards like being almost like an ironic shitbox.
Oh, because of the Cobalt Theory.
Well, just like I just mean like you don't. They're getting older, so you just don't.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you don't see them as much.
You don't see as many.
It's a little bit noteworthy now.
Yeah, it's just remember that shitbox from the.
Well, I've got one. I've got one parked out front.
So, anyways, I think.
Oh boy,
are you ready for this?
I am.
Yeah,
new contender.
Late on months.
So I don't. It's probably still not as shitty as the Cobalt.
Okay,
but it's probably more weak and pathetic.
Okay.
Like I can't think of a car that I want to own less.
Yeah, that's another good.
Is it a Chevy Cruze?
No, it's not a Chevy.
That's another good standard. Is you can't think of a car you'd want to own less for any amount of time.
Right. Okay. 2012.
Okay. Hold on. Wait. Let me get a browser up so I can.
Okay.
All right.
I can think of a few. It's a good era. I'm just telling you.
That's what I mean, like, because Cobalt is like 2008-ish.
Yeah. Starting strong.
A Cobalt Theory car will always get a little newer as the years.
Right. Yeah, you got to.
As the years march, as time marches on. Okay, 2012, Hyundai.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Tucson.
Ooh. Interesting.
There it is. That's got to be pretty solid.
At the time, wasn't this like their... Was the Tucson not their first attempt at an SUV?
I think that was the Santa Fe.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Boy. Oh, it doesn't even have that.
I don't know what.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I'm seeing where you're coming from.
If you showed me that and the picture was like small enough where I couldn't see the badge, I'd have a hard time.
So it's like, well, I guess another interesting thing is like, say you're dating a girl, or like,
hold on, let me get this mindset.
Okay, well, just say like you meet some girl, and we ask like, what does she drive?
Yeah,
like think of something lamer.
Think of something worse. Yeah, not worse, just
like more like
cobalty,
less. Yeah,
I once went out on a date with a girl who drove a Nissan Juke.
No,
which is a bad car, but I was like, this is like interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you pick this?
Weird angles and stuff like that.
Yeah, where this, it's like...
Although I don't know, the Nissan Rogue of the same era
the first gen Nissan Rogue?
I gotta say, that's more identifiable than this.
Yeah.
I think the Rogue is worse.
At least you know what it is a little bit.
Yeah.
The Rogue, it is up there. It's a very thin line. They are neck and neck. They're duking it out. But this is sadder. This is like less...
Like just imagine what you look like.
Because a Rogue I would make fun of. Where this it's not even worth. It just has I don't even know what motor's under there.
No,
it could have 3 to 7 cylinders. I don't know.
Man,
is it? I don't even care. I don't even want to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just looking at photos.
Okay. All right. So I mean, good job.
So now is it the Tucson theory?
I don't know.
No, it's forever the Cobalt
I think the name,
Theory.
because that's when it was established.
Well, we're gonna have to keep a spreadsheet
running-
of what
a
what the
running
latest
tab.
contender is, because otherwise I'm gonna
I
forget.
mean, it's kind of like
I mean, that's the point of the Cobalt Theory, is to forget it.
It's like a Lombardi trophy. Like, it's not the same team that has it forever.
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
it's still called
if we don't write it
Lombardi.
down, I'm gonna forget what the.
Got to write the dates.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a tough one. I'm trying to imagine like which one would I rather. The Cobalt has not really improved. It's just that this thing has shown up as a contender. But the old champ is still in fighting condition.
I actually saw like a newer Tucson the other day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the Tucson." Like I had forgotten. It was,
The newer ones, I think, are fine. This
I'm sure they're fine, but I just all the Hondas I see now are like the Konas, and like they all have
Right.
like the weird names.
This is
Yeah.
a transitional period.
Yeah.
This is just an unusually pathetic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have been waiting to dovetail off of this for also months with the ultimate hypothetical part 3.
Is it part?
I don't really remember what part 2 was.
I remember part 1. I don't remember part 2.
What was part 1? Because I might remember.
Part
2.
1 was like, I think it was like, you can have all the money in the world,
Oh
but
yeah.
but you can only have like just say Hyundai Tucson. Like,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
have a Hyundai Tucson in mint condition, and all the money to spend on anything you could ever want.
But no other car.
You can never
Never drive
you can
another
never
car.
own or drive another car. But
I swear there was another ultimate hypothetical. Maybe. If you remember what it was,
Let us
comment below. I'm pretty sure there was a second one. I don't think it was as grand.
No, I don't think so.
But I think it did exist. Okay, so let's assume there's a part 2. This is part 3. The ultimate hypothetical.
This is the Return of the Jedi.
part 2.5.
Okay. Would you rather take as a car that you have to drive as your daily driver, or if it's not a daily driver, you have to drive it like multiple times a week? You're forced to drive this thing.
Gunpoint.
It's got to be put into the rotation. It can't just sit. Okay. You can either have a 2012 Tucson, okay, or I spin a wheel, Wheel of Fortune, and it's any car from Mitsubishi's history.
I would definitely go Mitsubishi without a doubt.
Any car.
Yeah.
Anything,
Yep.
including the like Mirage.
Yeah, I would probably rather have a Mirage than a Tucson.
Okay. Let me back it up. It's any car from Infinity's lineup.
No, I would go.
You would? Infinity?
I'd go Infinity.
Over the Tucson?
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't the ultimate. I don't know, bro. Mitsubishi's got some pretty bad cars. I feel like that's the...
Yeah,
that's
they also have some good cars though.
But they have some good cars.
And I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think their bad ones are any worse than Tucson.
What's that one? What do they make now?
Mirage G4.
So that's in the running. You'd rather drive a Mirage G4 than a Tucson?
Yeah,
It's probably got CarPlay at least.
but I mean the Mirage G4 is like notably pathetic. Like notably like
Yeah, but and you have to
joke.
drive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
I'd still
all right.
rather have it than a Tucson.
Yeah.
I think. Pretty sure.
Really?
I think the flaw in your thing is because there's a gambling aspect to it, where it's like you know what you're getting with the Tucson, where
You would always
you
roll
spin
those
the
dice.
wheel and it's just like, well,
3000
I got to look
GT.
behind door number 2. I got
There could be an Evo.
yeah.
Yeah, there could be an Evo. There could be a.
Yeah, there's like 10
Gallant.
versions of an Evo that's behind that door.
There's an Eclipse. I guess that's a good point. Okay, why don't we? Maybe let's see if we could bandage this. Instead of the Tucson,
Okay.
is it something better? It's like a V6 Mustang.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
All right.
It's good. I don't know. I guess we'd have to massage that one.
Yeah.
You're right. It has to be something. It has to be a known. It's like a Civic Si.
Well, it's like you're playing like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you've won like 50 grand
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
I think
Yeah.
Civic Si is not bad, or like Civic LX versus like any car ever in Ford's lineup or something. I think that needs some tweaking, but I think there's something there.
You need to marinate on that.
I think it could be. I would call it a.
Or I think it almost it'd be better if it was just like you have two wheels. One is like Infinity and one is Hyundai or whatever. Which one do you spin?
Yeah, you have to spin one of them. The Mitsubishi one is stuck on like non-turbo Eclipse. The Hyundai one is stuck on Tucson. Okay, it's a Daewoo wheel. I feel like there's something here.
Saturn.
Yeah, it's a Saturn wheel and an early '90s Kia wheel, and you can spin either one, but you're blindfolded. I don't know. I think there's something there. I would just call it a very provocative hypothetical.
Very spicy.
It's a spicy hypothetical. I don't think it deserves to be the ultimate. I swear there's a number 2. We got to figure out what that was. Okay. Something else I want to touch on, just real briefly, is I don't know how many different like versions of this I've seen, but it's when like kind of the simpleton description of horsepower and torque, and I'm really talking about like the internet lore when people like try to explain it. Someone will be like, "What's the?" or like it'll come up, or someone will post a dyno sheet, and it just eventually devolves into like people trying to describe power versus force, and just all the different ways of like what the one that the kind of classic one is horsepower sells cars and torque wins races.
Right.
Or something is one of them,
which doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Just like race cars are specifically not built for torque.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But another one I saw. This is not ironic. These are presented as like an explanation. Yeah. Torque is what gets you there, and horsepower is what keeps you there, which doesn't even, I can't even begin to understand what that's supposed to mean. Like you're attached to
I don't even
like a bungee quill.
I mean, it makes sense. Like
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
It's like since you feel torque first, and then
it gets you to acceleration.
Yeah, it gets you up to speed, and horsepower keeps you at speed.
Yeah, it's not really speed. I understand it like in theory, but it can't really.
I think I do, but this was presented as like, what's the difference?
Yeah, end all be all.
It's like, well, all you need to know.
Yeah, this is like the children's book version.
All you need to know is the torque gets you there.
Never forget this.
Just never forget this, and you'll be fine. There's just a bunch of different versions of it, which I will not attempt to explain. Explain
torque wins race.
Yeah, torque is what sells trucks. Yeah. Anyways, guess we could go into it. Probably not. I feel like if you're listening to this podcast, you know what. Fuck it. I'm going to talk. Well, there's one. Okay. This is going to be real fast. Because if you've made it this far, you're stuck anyways. Okay, so velocity is one thing. Speed. Right. And
direction.
The rate that you're moving. Sure.
Well, that's what velocity is.
It's the rate that you're moving, yes.
And a direction.
That's a direction. Yeah. It's just steady state. You're going this fast. It's velocity. The rate of change of velocity is acceleration.
Or deceleration.
The acceleration is the rate that your speed changes at. So it's how fast are you changing speed?
Actually, can I segue for a second?
Sure.
We'll put this picture up. I sent this to my Mustang. Like a lot of cars do, have like a built-in like G accelerometer,
G meter or power graph.
Some of them have power graphs, but that's kind of more just like a.
You're talking about the G meter, the circle, with acceleration.
Circle with the dot.
Like, if you go to mine, like I guess it just records whatever like the highest.
Yeah, it's constantly pushing a new high until you reset it.
Yeah, and mine
it's like here's your old high score.
Forget what mine says. Mine's like 1.1 on one side and like 1.10, like a little bit less.
Left to right, lateral G.
And there's braking and acceleration, I guess.
Yeah.
And just like there's no, assuming it hasn't been reset. Like if you ever want to like look to see how a car's been treated.
Oh yeah, like just like used car thing.
Just a little hack.
Because I swear I remember when I bought I've never reset mine.
I don't even know how to reset the Jeep's one. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
But just like I remember when I bought
check.
it, like I was fooling around with the menus and I went to the accelerometer and I think it was at like 0.8 or something for like each one.
Ooh, that's a good.
So I was like, okay, like
this thing's
it's
cherry.
like, yeah, female owned.
Yeah.
This is like quickly making a light.
Yeah.
0.8 G's. It's like taking a right turn a little too fast.
And now it's at like 1.1.
Now it's been pushed.
Yeah.
It's been enthusiast
Hit the skid pad.
Yeah, you're gonna want to reset that.
Anyways, back to velocity.
Back to some boring shit. Okay, so velocity, speed, and direction technically.
Yeah.
How fast you're going. Rate that changes is acceleration.
Right.
If you change it faster, you're accelerating. The rate that acceleration changes, the rate of increasing acceleration basically is called jerk. And it's very rarely talked
That's an actual
about.
term.
It's a term.
That's the official.
Yeah, it's the official term of it is jerk. It's rate of change of acceleration.
I guess that makes sense.
And so you feel jerk.
Yeah,
When,
that's
when VTEC kicks in, you feel the jerk.
Well, that's
that-
like a Tesla or whatever.
Tesla's a pretty big one, but the more common one that we're familiar with is turbo boost.
Yeah.
Because the
really?
rate that you're accelerating is changing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
you're accelerating, but then you're really
your
accelerating.
rate of acceleration is
yeah.
actually changing, and that's what you feel. That's actually the thing that feels like not just like acceleration is whoa, I'm being held there.
Right. This is like, whoa, it's going more.
Yeah, being pushed and then harder and harder being pushed is jerk, and that's like exhilarating.
Right.
And so cars that aren't necessarily fast but have a lot of jerk are really fun to, especially for a passenger to fuck around with people.
Right.
Like the M5 is very high because I think the variable valve timing acts like a turbo. And so if you're kind of like partial throttle and then you punch it, as you can like feel the cam start to adjust, it kind of like, it pulls. But VTEC is one too. It's just it's a step change.
Yeah. It's not a gradual.
Yeah, it's a change in jerk. And so it's like, oh, the rate of our acceleration just increased. Okay, so that is me tying in jerk with torque gets you there.
Is it just JERK?
Yeah, jerk spelled.
I don't know. Maybe there's some Q in there.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know.
I know, it's crazy. It's like it's very rarely talked about.
Because there's torque.
Yeah,
jerk.
torque, power, jerk. Yeah, rate of change of acceleration is jerk. It's the third. Wait, I don't remember my calculus.
But so like when you do like a launch in an all-wheel drive car, is that considered jerk?
Yeah, well, you're feeling
I mean, you're
like
Because
sure. As you get traction,
because like having ridden in a few like fast, like even John's Jeep, like when you do like an actual launch, like it feels like uncomfortable,
Right.
Even though it's not, even though the vehicle is
But that's-
not, like,
that's-
that fast.
no, I would say that
but that's just acceleration because it's a steady acceleration.
because you're going from like zero to
you're
something.
0 to 5, your jerk is off the scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Or like you're
it's
0 to
crazy.
0 to 20 or whatever.
Yeah, sure. But actually, what you're feeling is you go from the jerk chart goes to like a billion, and then as you start to take off, it drops way down.
right. Yeah.
Because now it's just like you
Now
are
that's just
accelerating,
yeah.
you're gaining speed.
Now the curve is just a straight line.
Yeah, but the rate, it's a flat line. Jerk is a flat line.
Yeah. Acceleration is
velocity is
It just
just
like I mean, like I've ridden in some like really fast cars,
yeah.
like a whatever 911 GT3, like on the track, or like a Mustang with like a NASCAR motor, and but still like the physical feeling of like going zero, like doing like a 4-second 0 to 60.
Sanity
from
jerk.
zero. It's like
The rate of the rate of acceleration change. The acceleration went from 0 to a billion.
Right.
Yeah.
In a second.
Yeah.
I gotta say, as I get older, there's a limit to how fast I enjoy going and accelerating. And that's like one of the big problems I'm seeing with EVs.
And it always feels worse for a passenger.
Yeah, because you don't know it's exactly coming.
You don't know when it's going to hit.
And it's probably also because you're not holding on to something.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
I feel like holding on to the wheel, like
that does a lot. It gives, even as a driver of a fast EV, it gives me a headache. It's just like I'm stretching my spinal cord. And yeah, I don't know. I think we're there. It's like cars are fast enough. They probably don't need to be faster.
I still enjoy acceleration, but I don't like. I'm not a fan of top speed anymore, unless I'm at the track.
Like you've probably used your launch control like twice to show it.
It's literally like anytime someone new is in the car, and I'm like, "You want to see launch control?"
Yeah, the most pleasurable thing for me is when you're like, "Whoa,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, this is quick," not
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah,
ow,
Yeah.
oh, I can't breathe." Like, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
like a Tesla Plaid or something.
yeah, like you taste your lunch.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, thanks. Please, this accelerates in 1.2 seconds. Like, I don't want to drive. I don't want to drive in it. I don't want to be.
I don't want to release my bowels.
Yeah, I'll
not
take your word
enjoyable.
for it. It's great.
That's what
Very
roller
fast.
coasters are for, or something.
Yeah, it's very fast. Okay, and finally,
Speaking of tasting your lunch.
speaking of tasting, I hate to say this, but
It's
it needs,
true.
it needs to be said, people. Chipotle is kind of done. Not done, but their rate of acceleration is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going negative jerk.
They're definitely plateauing.
They have plateaued
Or
and
even, like,
started
The thing
to
is,
get worse.
the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't really know how to address this because I just quit Chipotle cold turkey like 6 months ago.
I think the biggest problem for me is the inconsistency in the product.
Yes.
Where
I mean, like the portions.
yeah,
portion size,
sometimes
or
you get
just,
someone
like,
who's in a good mood.
The quality of the meat
yeah,
is different.
Or
every
this
time.
whole mobile order thing. You roll in and there's.
Do you think it's like, have they raised their? I guess. Well, no, I guess they always raise their prices. That's.
I don't care about the prices. Yeah,
Well, I just
it's
mean
like they
well,
are expensive.
well, I just
That's
mean like
annoying.
that. Supposedly now with everything being expensive, they say like, oh, everyone like charges the same price, but they just lower the portion or the quantity.
Maybe
or
that's what they're
whatever.
doing. I mean,
There's a name
that'd
for
be
it.
terrible.
There's a name for it.
Shrinkflation.
But
Yeah.
but it's not just food. Even like a thing of napkins or something.
Right.
You know?
Shrinkflation.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
The Cadbury cream egg reducing over time. Yeah, it used to be like, oh man, Chipotle, they're just like crushing it. This is just like the place to go.
yeah, like I could get 2 meals out of this.
Yeah,
burrito.
like this is like, and it's like fast in and out, and like
Right.
everyone's friendly. And now it's just like, this is just fast food again.
Yeah.
Except it's worse than fast food because Taco Bell, anywhere you go, it's the
consistent.
same.
Yeah.
It's very consistent. Where Chipotle is like, this is not a $12 burrito.
And it can be like
Yeah.
expensive and crowded.
Yeah, it's expensive, it's crowded, it's loud. It's the mobile orders screw everything up. Anyways, it's a fallen champion because I used to be a big Chipotle guy, and I find myself avoiding it now.
Well, it's funny. Like I got an email like a couple weeks ago that I shared with you guys where it was like,
Come on back.
here's your Chipotle year, like
yeah.
end of the year recap.
Your
and
metrics.
It's like you visited Chipotle twice in the past 12. I was like, Jesus, that's it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
same. I mean, I was literally going there like 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and now I haven't. I went once in the last like 4 months or something. It's over. They could come back. It's just a consistency thing. I don't know. It's just a bit of a shit show.
I don't know. I was forced to go there because the other burrito place I go to near my house just was temporarily closed because they don't have enough employees.
Yeah,
apparently.
no one wants to make burritos.
So
these
maybe
days.
that's maybe I don't know if that's what
It could
Chipotle
be.
is struggling
I mean,
with too. But
maybe
Well, I've noticed in the past like 6 months, just like the level of service like everywhere is just like declined.
it's
by
worse. Everyone's just pissed
15.
off and
Just like
busy.
there's
and-
just less people, so just like everything like
Yeah.
it shows up in everything.
yeah, it's bad. Anyways,
That's
shout out to Chipotle. It's a sad note. A sad note to end on.
we're gonna go eat something after this.
Yeah, it's not gonna be Chipotle.
Well, I guess the bright side would be like try the more like local
Sure.
places, not the like
Try your
corporate chains.
mom and
chains.
pop taqueria. I mean, I still like their food when it's good. I just won't. It's like Popeyes. It's like I can't interact with it. I don't want to go in there. It's always fucked up and
Yeah.
it's a big deal. But if you hand me their product,
I will consume.
it's delicious. Yeah, it's fine. Ideally, it's just all the parts that don't have to do with their ideal product. Okay, well, there you go. Now you're caught up, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you guys. And we will see you next time.
Bye bye.
See you.